we're working on the slideshow. I'm going to open up what I started. I'm going to go File, Open Project, and find it in my folder for the class, my Premiere projects here. And I named it last name, first initial, slideshow. I'm going to open that. I did update the the assignment. So let me go to student view. So in our course on Canvas, you can find the new PDF in files, or you could go to assignments. Let's see if we go to assignments and we go to the first assignment's due tomorrow is the slideshow screenshots. Let me click on that to open that. And then I updated the slideshow instructions now. I noticed I had something that no longer applies, and I changed the word to be correct now, slideshow. So you can download that now from the slideshow screenshots assignment that we're looking at now. And basically for the screenshots, you're just going to screenshot showing that you've used keyframes in your effect controls panel. And then we're going to get into transitions today. So you'll be able to screenshot your transitions in your timeline and upload that for tomorrow. But I just downloaded the updated assignment, so I'm going to go find it in my download slideshow instructions. I'm going to go to my new Finder window here and put it in my folder for the class. And I'll just override the one that I have there with the new one. Replace. Because in the old one I had something about like interview footage. In a previous class we had interview footage to work with this, but for this class we're not going to do that. So I took that out. So this is your new slideshow assignment. And what we're doing is we're just creating an animated slideshow of still images to music, basically. And let's see. Also, what I want to open up is in our lesson presentations folder, the lesson 9 and 10, our final lesson here. So we went through keyframing. So,
Abby, can I ask you a quick question before you get into the transitions lecture? If you record something video and there's talking on there and background noise and whatever, you bring it in as a sequence, you figure out what you want, bring it in as a sequence, and then you lay down other audio, music, or whatever. That overwrites whatever that would, will it cover up the previous audio?
Well, it depends on if you put the music on top of where you had your audio. If you want to have them mixed together and hear the background or ambient sound from your footage and also hear music, then you lay down your audio clip for your music audio would be laid down on the video 2 audio track.
Oh, okay, but if you don't want to hear the original audio, how do you pick that out?
Well, you could drag in video, like, okay, let's see, I have something that was a video here. Let me just go
In other words, it's not as simple as just laying down audio on audio 1.
You could overwrite what you had on audio 1 with your music, or you could, let's say this has audio on it, so I could you could drag in, if you like the drag and drop method, you could just use the drag video only, and then you drag video only, and then in the first place, yeah, put video only. Or like if I wanted to do that as an automatic edit, I could set like an in and an out, and then I could just deselect the audio 1, and deselect the audio source 1, and then I could do like an overwrite and see how only the audio is coming in. But if let me undo that. But if I had the audio source selected, and then let's see what happens if I overwrite. See, it brings in the audio that's attached to that clip because I selected the A1 source indicator.
So then there's a combination of the music track plus the audio from the original video.
No, I had music here, but I just went over the top of the music with the audio that was attached to this video clip. So there's it's an overwrite edit. So there's nothing. It's just that audio that comes along with this clip now.
I thought that's what I just said, but okay.
Oh, I thought you said it was a combination. Well, it is the whatever the music, the Rod Stewart music here and the Rod Stewart music on either side, but in the middle, what came down, plopped on top of it, and overwrote what was underneath. So it's only this audio that came along with this video clip.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna undo that. Okay, so let's talk about transitions. You guys ready for transitions? Transitions are fun. Okay, so
Abby, I have one question right quickly. When we turn these in, do we just turn it in as Premiere, or do we have to turn it in like the last video?
You need to export a rendered file for me.
Render file. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
For the rendered file assignment. But for the first assignment that's due this Wednesday, it's just screenshots to show me what you're working on in your Premiere project. But you never turn in the Premiere project to me.
Okay, so which one is the rendered file video? Well, I guess I'll look through them and try to figure that out.
Well, we'll go over that. I haven't.
Oh,
so, but
thank
when you
so
click on
much.
assignments, you'll see the upcoming assignments for this project, and it's just slideshow screenshots. 2 slideshow screenshots are due tomorrow, and then Friday the slideshow rendered file is due.
Okay, but for I'm so sorry, for the last, I'm sorry to say this, but for the last assignment, do we don't hand in the Premiere, we have to hand it in through like a video. I don't know how I did it for the bird video, but I guess I'll just look at that video again to see how we hand it in, I guess.
Well,
sorry,
I can go over that again for exporting. And you get points for exporting and turning in a final project too.
Okay.
That can be just polishing up one of your works in progress. Okay, so, or it can be, we'll talk about that later too for next week. So this is really our last project. So we have 2 weeks. So we can We can take it easy. Don't worry. This is light and fun. I like to keep it light and fun for the last assignment. It's just kind of light and fun. Learning transitions. Transitions are just fun and easy. They do the animation for you. Let's talk about the art of applying transitions and what they are. So, before I get into the art of transitions, let's look at a few here as examples. So let's see, where can I put a transition? Okay, so we have this come in. This might be, okay, let's see. So I have, right now I have, this makes it complicated that I have a stack of all of these three. So what I'm going to do to make it less complicated, which I hope this doesn't make it seem more complicated because this is a little bit of an advanced step. But what I'm about to do now, but you guys are okay for learning this step because when we did multicam editing, that got pretty advanced with what I'm about to talk about right now. What I'm about to talk about is nesting. And I'm only doing this because I got a little complicated here with a stack of what's here. I have what's on this top video 3 track. I have text, and then on video 2 track I have my image that's shot. That's the tall and narrow. So that's the whole reason I put this backdrop of color, which is a color mat here, which is on video 1 track. So I've got 3. So if I want to make all these 3 clips into 1 clip just to make it easier to work with, I can select each one. I'm just going to click on the top and hold shift, and let's see, can I click the bottom? No. Just holding shift and clicking on these 3. So they're all selected. And then I can right click and I can choose nest, and that should make it that should turn it into one clip. Nest, and I'll call this let's see, I'll say image layout, because this is like a layout with image, text, or maybe I'll call it like intro layout, because it's kind of like an introduction slide. And I'm just gonna say okay, and then see how it makes it like it's all in its own little clip now, and then it gives me a sequence in my project panel. And if I wanted to do any more work on the layout and get access the text and make changes, I could just double click on the sequence from my project panel, and I have access to all 3 separate clips again. So I can go in and select the text and move it around, and then it will update over here. So whatever changes I make in this sequence is gonna update in the main slideshow sequence. So now it's just easier to work with. So if I want to add a transition here, can go, you get transitions from effects, and then you can go into video. Video effects we're saving until next Premiere class. We're going to go into video transitions folder. Video transitions. Okay, so now in video transitions, the transitions are all organized into folders based on the type of transition. So we have 3D motion, dissolve, like this. The simplest ones are the dissolves, the most straightforward, common. There's a new immersive video category, which has some pretty cool stuff. Iris, page peel, just to show you. The page peels can be a little cheesy. It really depends on how you use them. You don't want to overuse transitions in a video. You want to use them sparingly and creatively. So that's where we get into the art of transitions. But let's see what happens with page peel. So to apply a transition, you can just drag it. You can see I open the folder by clicking the arrow, downward arrow. Then you can just drag it and lay it down on a cut. With this one, it's forcing me to put the page peel only on one side of the cut. If I go over here, this is going to be a little bit better here, but I want to just select this image and go to Effect Controls and select Motion and just adjust it a little bit and maybe scale it a little smaller. Yeah, just frame it a little better. And then, okay, so now I have this image leading into this image. Notice the cut here. Both sides of the cut, you don't see any little triangles like you do over here. Wait a minute. Let me delete. You can always delete a transition by selecting it and deleting it. So with this one, because this acts as a video clip where there's a duration to it because it's a sequence. If I were to trim it shorter, then notice what disappeared. When I extend it, you notice that there is a little triangle on the top corner and a little triangle on the top corner on the other side. Left and right triangles. You guys remember what that means? When you see those little triangles on a video clip?
I don't remember.
It means that that's the full extent of the video and there's no handle room. When you trim a clip, then those little triangles disappear. So if I wanted to make this shorter, then I don't see the triangles. So when I apply a transition to this cut, I can apply it in more than one way. I can line it up centered on the cut, or I could line it up on one side or the other side of the cut, because the transition actually uses the handle room of the clips. If there's no handle room on a clip, it doesn't have that additional video to pull from. With images, there's no handle room is infinite. But with a video clip, there's a certain length of time it's fixed. It's a fixed length of time. Same thing with the let me delete this now. Same thing with this is a nested sequence, so it has a duration. Let me just extend it to the full length. See, I'm dragging out its full duration. I wonder if I could give it some handle room by going into the sequence itself. Let's see, can I double click on this? Yeah, you can also double click on the nested sequence and it will take you into its timeline. And then let's say I want to just make it longer. That should help me if I select the top. I'm going to click, I'm going to select, command click to select. No, command click doesn't let me do. Shift click lets me select each of the clips and I can extend the length. And now when I go back to my timeline.
Nabby, isn't handle room kind of for a clip, like a normal clip that you put on the timeline? Isn't that established by what you
shot? Yeah.
What you shot and what are you marking as in and out?
Well, now I'm just trying to extend it so that it has handle room. Did you see what I did there? I went into
talking about a normal clip, not this one. It's like a normal one.
Yeah, a normal clip, you're locked into whatever the duration is that you shot. That's the full length of it. But I'm just showing you that I can create handle room by extending the beginning and the ending. Like if I extend this longer now, then I go back here. Oh wait, it's still not. Maybe If I move this over and then I go back here, no, then it's giving me black until it gets to there. So I guess I have, it's not going to let me have handle room at the beginning, but it's going to let me have handle room at the end because I made it longer. So that's interesting working with a nested sequence. But it's okay if you don't have handle room on a cut. It will just kind of force you to use one side of the cut. But let me move over here and we'll get back to that because that might be a little bit complicated right now. So let's get to something fun and easy right now. So this cut here, this cut between images, there's no, handle room is infinite because you can extend an image however long you want. In fact, with video, if you don't have the handle room, or in this case I have this nested sequence, if you don't have the handle room, it will actually just use the first frame if you want to force it to use the image on the side that doesn't have handle room. It'll just use the first frame and duplicate the first frame of your video clip and use that. And there's no problem with that. It'll be fine. So let's just see how transitions work. So here's a page peel. I'm going to drag in the page peel. So I can drag it centered on the cut, or I can drag it one side or the other side of the cut. And I'll do it centered on the cut. See the little icon, how it shows you as I'm going on each side of the cut. The icon's going to show where you're dropping it. So that's on the right side. This is on the left. This is centered. I'm going to just do it centered. So let's see what the page peel looks like. So that could be kind of cheesy if you just use that in the cut and for no reason at all in the middle of your video, like a cutting on action video. Like for some video, you want the cuts to just stand for themselves and not have a transition. But for something like a fun slideshow, it could work. Or if you're doing, you could make it really work creatively, thematically. If, let's say, I made each image look like a page of a book, then it would make more sense to use the page peel transition in a creative way. But you don't want to see these popping up all over the place, or it's kind of like a really cheesy 80s music video. So that's where we come in to talk about the art of applying transitions. Placement, creatively placed with a thoughtful purpose, is the best way to go with transitions. You want to think about the length of the transition, because you can change the duration of the transition. Going back into Premiere, I can actually hover over the ends of my transitions and lengthen or shorten the transition. So now the transition will go really fast, or I can slow it down, make it the duration longer, so it goes longer. Parameters, there are parameters you can adjust in transition, such as colored borders, motion, and start and end locations. So parameters of this one, for example, when you select the transition itself, like I have it selected right now, then you'll see the parameters in the Effect Controls panel. See, if I select a clip, then you see the parameters of the clip, the motion, opacity, time remapping options. But when I click on the transition itself, now I can control that transition. So here I can choose which direction the page peel is going. So it's going from top down. I can choose a different direction. Let's see, which one is selected already? That one looks like it's selected. Northwest to southeast. Let's see if I select this one down here. That's the southeast to northwest. We'll see how it is. So there's the page peel going the other way. Or I could choose northeast to southwest, and then it's going the other way, or the other way. So you got the idea, right? So you can use this little diagram controller to select, different directions for transitions. Then there's alignment. So for alignment, there are 3 default alignments: center at cut, or end at cut, or start at cut. There's also custom alignment. When you drop it in, you only have those 3 choices, and when you don't have handle room and you're dropping it in on a cut without handle room, you have even less choice. But you can change the alignment after you've dropped it in. Like I could switch to end at cut. See how I switched to end at cut, and now it went to end at cut. I guess the transition's too long right now to do start at cut, so it's grayed out. But if I shorten the transition, let's see, will it let me? Oh, it's not letting me shorten it here anymore. Oops. And thank goodness for undo. Okay, but let's see, I can shorten it here. And then I can choose start at cut. So start at cut, it moved to the other side. Start at cut, and then let's see, center at cut, then center. All right, and I can stretch it longer. And then I can also notice when I use the effect controls timeline here for the transition. Notice that when I hover over the transition, you'll see different tool icons. So when I'm just, over the end of a transition, this is just your standard trimming icon. And then when I hover over like this on either side of the cut, what tool does that look like? Does anyone recognize it? I'll give you a hint. Let's look in our tool bar here.
Is it a eraser?
See what's underneath the slip tool? What tool is that? Slide tool. So this, when you hover over the transition around the cut, on either side of the cut, you get the slide tool's functionality to slide the transition from one side to another. So this now has changed the alignment of the transition on the cut to be a custom alignment. It's now set as custom start. So that's how you do like a custom alignment. And then what else do we have? What's this tool? When I hover over the cut, what do I get? You guys should know this one. Rolling, yes, rolling edit tool. And you can actually roll the cut. See how I'm doing that from up here in the clip timeline? I'm rolling that cut over between the 2 images to give a little more length to my second image here. So that's a good thing to get acclimated with. Then we have the A side and the B side, the clip before the cut, the clip after the cut set here, and we could scroll down a little bit in our effect controls and we could check show actual sources, which I usually like to do to give me a better idea of what's going on between my 2 actual sources. And you could set the start and the end to be a little above 0, because by default the first image is gonna start at 0, and then the end is gonna end at 100. But let's see what happens if I change that. If I increase this start to something else, like, see what I'm doing? Now, instead of seeing the image, instead of seeing the page peel from the beginning, it's already halfway there. Well, not halfway, but if I want it to be halfway, I could put halfway peeled from the beginning. So there it's halfway peeled. So that will be kind of like a jump. where it's like suddenly you see half the page peeled up. Let's see what it will, I'm going to make this back to 0. Bring that page back down and then go to the end and see what it looks like if I bring the end down. So I lowered the number from 100 down to 52. So 52.3. So let's see what that looks like. So that that doesn't look good to me. That looks like a jump, kind of like a jump cut. It's because you don't see the page peel all the way back. It just goes almost like halfway and then jumps to the full image. So that's not usually what you would do with a transition. So I'm gonna keep that at 100. So that's normally, this is how we would have the start at 0, the end at 100. It didn't look that bad to me to start the transition later though, for some reason. So if you have that option to change those values if you want. But let me just move here. Okay, so then you could also check reverse for this one. What will reverse do? Let's check it and see. Check reverse on. What did reverse do differently here? It's just it's going backwards, right? The page peel is moving backwards. Okay, and then if you don't like a transition, you don't want to use it, no problem. Just use your selection tool, select it, and press delete key, and it's gone. So we can have some fun just testing these out. So we can go into 3D motion, drag in cube spin. See what that's going to do. I'm dragging it, centering the transition on the cut, and then let's see what cube spin's going to do. Oh, that's cube spin. You can select the transition and see what the parameters are. You can have it spin in a different direction. That. Or the other way. Let's see. That way. And then you can go down here and you can reverse. So you can try these out and delete them when you don't like them. Dissolve. The one that's set as can anyone tell me? I just opened up the dissolve folder. Can anyone guess which of these transitions is set as the default transition? From looking at it? Cross dissolve, yes. So by default, our default transition is set as cross dissolve, but you can change the default transition, and the default transition is you can apply with a keyboard shortcut, and it's the transition that's used in the automate to sequence feature, and maybe other features will use the default transition. So it's easier to apply the default transition, and you can change which transition is set as the default transition. But by default, cross dissolve is set as the default transition because it's so, I'm just going to drag it in here. It's such a classic. Oops, but I don't think I like it on that cut. Let me delete it from there. But maybe I want something on there. Maybe if I put cross dissolve on this cut, but I make it shorter, it might look better. Let's see. Not so much. I'm going to delete that. Let's put cross dissolve on something else. On this cut. Sorry? Did you have something to say?
I'm actually on the top left corner there was like two images, a few clips. I wasn't sure how do you able to do that.
2 images. Say that again.
Oh, it was in the source window on the top left, and there's like the image A and image B.
Oh, when you select the transition. Or cube spin. Wait, let me see. how I was able to have image A and B showing. If I uncheck show actual sources, is that what you were talking about?
Yes, yes.
So if you uncheck show actual sources, then you'll see A and B. But if you check actual sources, you'll see the actual whatever image you're actually using, whatever image you actually, the images that are around that cut that the selected transition is on, you will see your two images. So I see the two images that are here in my timeline here now because I checked show actual sources. And then this one, let's see, we have, here's a cross dissolve. But there's so much movement here. I don't know if cross dissolve works for that one. Let's try it with, I'm going to try it with maybe, and then these images are going so fast. I don't know if cross dissolve works. Maybe right here. So I'm going to take cross dissolve and put it here and then see what that will look like. So that's a classic cross dissolve, where it's just dissolving, one image dissolving into another. And you select cross dissolve, and it doesn't have that many, it doesn't really have much, any extra bells and whistles as far as parameters. It's just pretty classic. There are other dissolves you can check out. Additive dissolve is going to add kind of a brightness as it dissolves. See that brightness? I don't know if I like that. There's dip to black. Drag that in. It dips to black and then fades back in. Dip to white. That might be a good one here. And film dissolve. Let me just delete this. Select it, delete it, and drag in film dissolve. It's a different looking dissolve there. It's like film exposure. This one is new Morph Cut, and it's best used on a jump cut. Like if you have almost the same image, should show it on a jump cut. But I might be able to show it on one of my images here. We could see if it works on something here. I don't know if it will work on this, but it's supposed to be where you have like the cut where you have a person generally in the same similar position. But I don't think it probably won't work well here. I'll probably show it on something else, because it's actually going to try to smooth it out and make it look like it's not a jump cut. I don't think it's going to work here, though. And it might take a long time to analyze it, so I probably shouldn't have used it. Let me see if I can delete it before it finishes. I'll show you Morph Cut on something else. Non-additive dissolve. Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting looking. Gonna shrink that down. Oh, I don't think I like that. I'm gonna delete that. Well, maybe there were some options for that could have smoothed it out. Let's see. Not really.
Jump cut.
Yeah, except it's obvious that there's a transition there. With Morph Cut, it tries to smooth it out so it doesn't even look like there's a jump cut. So it's a more advanced option. On something that's animated, let's see. Where's my animation stuff here? Oh, there's a lot of movement here. I could just, you don't have to use a transition on every cut. Like here, I was putting these together to have moving to moving, so I could leave it moving to moving, or I could put a transition on there that might create some interesting movement, like a slide or a wipe, or let's see, what else? would create movement. I guess like a push. Let's try a push. I'm going to drag a push in and see what that's going to do. So a push is going to push the image over. So, and I can select the push and I could change the direction that it pushes. Let's see. But that's a little weird. Going that way. Let's see, going down. That's too much because there's not enough time for that. But let me do push on something that gives me like this one here. I'm going to try it. Let's see what happens if I do a push here. Okay, so I'm going to take the push and drag it in. We'll see what it looks like. So that's a push, where it's pushing the image over. And that could be, you know, creatively used. Imagine somebody in a scene, in a dungeon, and let's say a character's pushing on a wall. And then you push that image over in using a push transition into maybe the next prison cell. I'm trying to envision how you might use the transition imaginatively with the content in a thoughtful way, like page peel on imagery that looks like pages of a storybook. So it's good to be thoughtful. Let's see what slide looks like. Slide. So slide is kind of like, if this would be nice if my images look like a deck of cards or something, and it's like putting a card on top of another card. Slide, and you can select slide and see the parameters. You can change the direction, south to north. Let's see what it does now. Up from the bottom. And I could put a border on this one. So some transitions have options that others don't. So I could add a border. Let's see. See, now I have a border line. I can increase the width of it to make it look more like some graphic design. I could change the border color. You can click on the little color swatch and choose my own color from the slider here and move the circle around to choose the value of that color. Or I could take my eyedropper and Premiere wants to record the computer screen. That's weird. Deny. Or I could take my eyedropper and choose a color that's in the image with my. This is what happened last time, so I'm gonna stop the recording. But see, I'm choosing a color. Let's see this yellow color here. That's in the image to make it match. Okay, but let's see. I'm gonna